Okay, recording.
Do we need to do another sound check?
I think we'll be okay.
Okay.
La 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 la.
Oh. There we go.
There we
sound
go.
check done.
Perfect. Absolutely done. Hello and welcome back to How I Ripped Off Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the #1 podcast that looks at a very specific thing that I wrote in my mid-teens. I'm joined with MC.
Hello, hello.
I am Chip. Can't remember if I said that or not, but there we go. This is part 2 of episode 1 from season 2, Return. Very aptly named. Where did we leave the gang off in the last episode, MC?
With a long string of blatant sexism.
Yep. Did enjoy that. Did not enjoy going through that.
There was... It overshadowed the drama that was meant to make up the bulk of the episode.
It was semi-interesting at one point as the gang were all blue and moody and emo and had a question about dressing gowns.
So MC is missing his hand.
Yep.
Louise is in a wheelchair.
Yep.
And worst of all, Jay is poor.
And also, which made me very uncomfortable, is Jay has become a sex pest.
Become? I'm sure he did some shady things in the first series, but this seems like
he just slept with hookers and stuff. It was fine.
No, I'm sure he made. No, maybe you're right.
He's more of a sex pest.
True.
Yeah.
It's because he's poor now.
Yep.
So he can't sate those urges with hookers anymore.
Louise has become a horrible stereotype of a horrible woman, apparently.
Yeah, he hates anyone who's rich and pretty.
Yep. And we haven't even seen Chip yet. He has not turned up. He has been away. They don't know where he is.
Oh man. I hope he's making up for it karmically by volunteering in an orphanage or
a women's shelter or something.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm terrified about what's going to come up in this part 2. But the gang, they do have a client. A client has come in.
They do. A rich one.
A rich client.
So rich they can afford IKEA furniture.
And she has some sort of supernatural stalker or something. We're going to find out. This is part 2 of episode 1, Return.
Previously on Tomorrow Gason.
Any luck tracking down Chip, Louise wondered?
No, I'm sorry. He is still lost to me.
Ooh, so Shinno Khan, who knows everything. Even he can't find Chip. Sarah Lee explained to the people, who looked like they had just come from a sleepover party, or were in the middle of one, how she was being stalked and about the intruder in her home last night.
Well, we will certainly help in any way that we can. Right, guys?
Both Louise and Jay nodded, although thought different things.
Maybe I should help out in the oral pleasure way.
Thought Jay.
Oh, God. This is just as bad, this next line.
Die, bitch, thought Louise.
Oh, wow.
Oh. As MC drove through the gates of Sarah Lee's magnificent home, he couldn't help think of charging her. He couldn't help think. The think just happened. There was so much think, he couldn't help it. After all, she was loaded and thought they were a PI agency anyway. What harm could it do, he wondered. Well, they do need some money and a job and stuff, so, she can afford all that IKEA furniture, so why not? Louise sat in the front of MC's car with Jay and Sarah Lee in the back. Oh, God.
Oh, no.
Also, side point, MC's learned to drive. I didn't think he could in the first one, could he?
No, he could. There was some driving.
Okay.
Do you remember everyone stealing Jay's cars all the time?
Yes, even though MC had his own DeSoto car.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Jay was relentless in his chat-up lines. Uncomfortably so. MC, overhearing from the front, couldn't decide if they were the best or worst lines. I'm going to say worst. I don't think there's such thing as a best chat-up line. Sarah Lee didn't really want to be stuck in the back with this miscreant.
I like miscreant as well. The fucking sex offender.
The one who seemed to be the leader and the disabled girl sat in the front, and she was stuck in the back with the short, dweeby guy who wouldn't shut up about heavy metal.
Do his pickup lines have something to do with heavy metal then?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe all his chat lines are around Slipknot. Like he's using Slipknot lyrics or something like
that. I don't know any Slipknot lyrics.
I push my fingers into my eyes. Yours are very pretty. I wouldn't do that.
Push my fingers into...
No, do not finish that. I'd rather be in her situation than have to suffer the opinions of this dimwit, Sarah Lee thought to herself. She can't walk, but at least she'd be able to get away quicker in that wheelchair thing.
Wheelchair thing as well.
Oh my god. I mean, no, this is obviously satire. This isn't me being a bastard.
No.
My comment on the 1% looking down on people who are just trying to show they're interested and give her a bed bath maybe, and people who
I don't know where you're going with this.
I'm trying to dig myself out of a very deep
failing.
hole from 15, 16 years
Something
ago.
about the 1% not appreciating the difficulties
Yes,
of
the everyday man
yes,
and woman
who are in wheelchairs.
MC parked the car in one of Sarah Lee's many garages, just scattered about the property, and went into the boot to pick up the weapons he'd brought for the occasion.
I just imagine go to a PI and being like, yeah, so I had an intruder last night, just wondering if you could, come along, check the security, da. Yeah, sure, I'll just pack my swords.
And my shrunken throwing stars. He indicated to Jay to get Sarah Lee away from the boot, as she might be slightly freaked out by the inventory.
Fair enough.
Oh, there you go, you can shut your mouth. Called you on that one. MC had brought with him all kinds of weapons. Nunchucks were always good for slowing an opponent down. There were also 2 kendo sticks and finally a sword. In fact, it was the sword. The very he had used to kill Jack.
It's been a while.
MC thought as locked the car. I'm just missing out words completely now.
It's been a while.
MC thought as locked the car.
Hope I'm not out of practice.
Yeah, it must have been the first time he's gone for a weapon since. And he's got one hand. Is he going to throw off his balance now? Or hopefully we'll find out. MC, Louise, Jay and Sarah Lee mad their way across the courtyard, which was more like a football pitch. Was there 2 goalposts at the end of it? And
Well, she is English.
it was covered with bright flowers, numerous trees and bushes and statues. Just tag that on at the end. Oh, and statues, yes. MC noticed the statues were of ancient Japanese gods.
Oh, those ones.
Those famous ancient
Japanese
gods.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe they're what's stalking Sarah Lee.
He pondered with their spelled incorrectly. Many peacocks also dotted the vast areas of grass.
What do rich people have? IKEA furniture, lots of garages, and peacocks.
Don't forget the statues of Japanese gods. Oh, for fuck's sake. They stood proud, their tails in full glory for all to see. They looked to be as proud about Sarah Lee's money as she did. Little side bit about peacocks there. That's interesting, isn't it?
You're setting the scene, you're building the world.
About proud peacocks.
Exactly.
Look! Louise pointed to 2 trees that provided quite a bit of shade between them. As MC studied the area, he saw what Louise had seen, a dead peacock. On closer inspection, the peacock had been eviscerated. That is a big word for 15-year-old Chip. I must have picked that up in an episode of Buffy somewhere. I imagine I'm going to use it about 57 times in season 2. On closer inspection, the peacock had been eviscerated. Its dry blood clung to its torn feathers as if it was trying to remain with the dead bird.
Don't leave me, dead bird. I'm sorry, dry blood.
Me trying to be all poetic there, I think.
I think so.
Jay and Sarah Lee joined MC. She was nearly sick. Jay put his arm around her, but Sarah Lee shrugged it all off. I'll be okay, she said. MC looked back to the path and saw a sad Louise sitting alone in her wheelchair. Her wheels would have sank if she tried to cross the wet grass.
That's quite a sad image, isn't it?
It is a sad
Somebody
image.
sitting in a wheelchair
Yeah.
next to an eviscerated peacock.
Japanese ancient god statues.
Jay,
MC commanded.
go and stay with Louise.
Jay nodded in agreement and went over to his wheelchair-bound friend. I think I'll join them as well, said Sarah Lee. MC continued to inspect the peacock. Its flesh had been torn, ripped apart.
Eviscerated, would you say? Teeth marks.
MC said to himself.
Either we got some kind of flesh-eating monster here, or peacocks are getting a bit vicious.
That's a shit joke, MC.
It is.
That's a really shit joke.
No one's around, so he doesn't need to bring out his top material.
He just sort of chuckled to himself under his breath.
Vicious peacocks. Hilarious.
It was now pushing on for the late afternoon, and everyone had, except for Jay, was getting bored. It was now pushing on for the late afternoon, and everyone had, except for Jay, was getting bored.
I
Yep.
hate it when I was getting bored.
And I had
Yeah.
already got bored, but was getting bored.
Except for Jay.
Who had not got bored and wasn't getting bored. MC needed to talk to his crew, but he didn't want to in front of Sarah Lee. So he sat in silence, thinking about the number of things that could have killed that peacock and what might be stalking Sarah Lee. I feel like I know he comes from a world of the supernatural and bad things, but maybe he's just jumping to a lot of conclusions here.
Foxes exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it could just be a person that's stalking her, but
Biting peacocks.
I guess the only... Maybe.
I mean, it's a normal thing to do. What,
God.
you judging me?
Is it going to turn out to be Jay? But, the only supernatural thing that's happened here is she tried to shoot someone and they weren't there.
Yeah.
She could have missed because clearly it went through the carpet.
Yeah.
So I'm still confused as to why the police detective, Tifa Lockhart, has sent her to MC and the gang.
I don't know. I really don't know. Pity, possibly, trying to get MC some money. If only Shinna Khan was here.
MC thought.
But that would take a bit of explaining.
Finally, Sarah Lee said the words MC wanted to hear. If it's all the same to you, I'd rather not be here. MC agreed, saying,
That's fine. As long as the stalker doesn't see you leave, then we should have stopped him by tonight.
Sure, yeah.
Doesn't
Okay.
see you leave, then we should... yeah, sure, okay.
Uh-huh. There's a kitchen and a bathroom if you need them. I feel like she should have many if she's that rich.
How many hallways does she have?
Are there any coffee tables in them? She seemed quite pleasant for the first time. Has she been unpleasant?
I mean, she didn't respond to Jay's Slipknot-themed pickup lines.
And she's
The
wearing
bitch.
nice clothes and
God, I
is
hate
rich.
her already. Is there a telly?
Asked Jay. Sarah Lee pushed a button next to the telephone, and the wall in front of where the gang was sitting slid open to reveal a TV that must have been 8 or 9 feet wide. That's proper old school idea of luxury, isn't it? A TV in a wall.
Weren't they in the garden?
I think we've jumped ahead. I think there was a break. There was a paragraph break. So
yeah, fair one.
Everyone was and had got bored.
Yeah.
So they've moved into the house.
Okay. I like to think that there is the outside TV wall next to the peacocks. It is for the peacocks in case they get bored.
The statues of the ancient Japanese gods open, and out comes a 9-foot TV. Jay was in heaven. Even his telly hadn't been that big when he was rich. Is there a wine cellar? Inquired Louise. Okay, now you're going to hear the difference between Louise and Sarah Lee. Yes, but the wine is reserved for important guests only. Ooh.
Ooh,
Sarah Lee was firm and snobbish in her answer, if you couldn't tell from that delivery. As the rich girl left...
New Jay? How did she feel about Slipknot?
Louise sarcastically waved her goodbye.
Right, guys, here's what's going to happen.
MC said.
I'm going to patrol the perimeter and see if I can bring an attack on from who or whatever is doing this.
Is he going to dress in like all of her fine rich clothes? And Louise will end up hating him. What do you suspect? Asked Louise.
Doubtful is a vampire or zombie. They're very picky about what they eat. Could be a werewolf.
Really? I thought they were just a myth.
No, they exist. They're just very rare. Anyway, you two take this.
MC handed Louise a Fisher-Price walkie-talkie.
Because you don't get a grown-up one because you're a girl.
What is a Fisher-Price one? I don't know. Did we ever have Fisher-Price walkie-talkies when we were young?
We probably would have wanted them.
Oh, so
we want them now.
This was wish fulfillment, was it? We could only have Fisher-Price walkie-talkies in this thing I write. MC handed Louise a Fisher-Price walkie-talkie.
And give me a shout if anything happens.
Louise felt a bit useless just sitting here, but in her present condition, hunting down a potential werewolf wasn't the best course of action.
You going to be okay?
MC asked Jay, who just grunted. He was too busy counting the music and porn channels. Is that like the video rental music shop? Is there are they combined?
The music and porn package from Sky.
Here's Slipknot fucking people while they do their music.
Oh god, wearing their mask as well. That's a picture.
I need to Google that and see if it exists.
I'm sure it does.
MC concealed his weapons inside his long brown coat and headed out. Louise decided rather than sitting there and feeling sorry for herself, she would try and locate the wine cellar. As the sun started to set in the eastern sky... Does it set in the east?
Land of the rising sun is in the east, so maybe? I don't know.
MC was beginning to get bored. Sarah Lee's home was very big and there was a lot of ground to patrol around, but once you'd seen the bush shaped like a swan a few times, you didn't need to see it 15 more times. Again, sign of wealth. Swan-shaped bush.
How many TVs does it have in it? And should it be shaped like a peacock? An eviscerated peacock?
No, because you can either have bush-shaped swans and peacocks, or swans and peacock-shaped bushes.
Gotcha.
So far, MC hadn't seen anyone apart from his own shadow, and despite the fact that ninjas were trained to have very good patience, boredom was defiantly setting in. It took me a very long time to learn how to spell definitely correctly.
Sometimes I even to this day, sometimes when I'm writing it, I'm like definitely.
Yeah, but this was defiantly setting in, so the boredom was like, no, I'm setting in, this is happening. Suddenly, MC heard a voice. It sounded crackly, but very jolly nonetheless. What is a crackly, jolly voice? Like Tom Waits or something?
Yeah.
Tom Waits is here.
Hello?
He called out. MC went into a slight crouching position in case there was an ambush. The crackling voice spoke again. This time, MC made out what it was saying.
Hello? MC? Where are you?
He put his hand into the left pocket and fished out the walkie-talkie. MC was just glad that no one else was around to see how stupid he looked. Because he's all paranoid about werewolves that probably talk crackly and very jolly.
The crackly werewolves, the most deadly of all werewolves.
They love peacocks.
Yes?
He replied, it was Louise. Great piece of dialogue coming up.
Uh-huh.
Oh, there you are, you cheeky monkey. I feel a bit tipsy.
Oh, great.
MC thought.
You mean you're pissed out of your head?
Yep.
I'm on my way back now.
Rightio. Over and up.
Because she's drunk, so she can't say over and out.
I would giggle at that.
MC could hardly blame Louise. She'd been so brave throughout this whole experience, and with Chip not being around, MC felt responsible for both her and Jay. As he passed one of the many garages, MC could smell rotten flesh.
I like to think that it's a really small house, but just fucking surrounded by like 20 garages.
They haven't got cars in them or anything like that, just full of peacocks and swan-like shaped bushes. It was a smell he'd smelt before, and one he would never forget.
It could be just another bird.
He thought, but then he heard a loud crash form inside.
Time to go to work.
He said aloud. He gripped a sword inside his coat with his one hand and kicked open the garage door. How do you kick open a garage door? They open outwards.
Or do you have to like click the top so it sort of swings up?
Oh, so he did like a jumping flying kick to the top. Right, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
He gripped the sword inside his coat with his one hand and kicked open the garage door. It appeared to be empty. MC took a small step inside, expecting an attack. It came from behind and knocked him down. MC's sword went flying across the garage floor and stopped underneath a pile of cardboard boxes. MC nipped up and swung around.
So, zombie it is.
The bloodthirsty demon glared at him. Dried and wet blood covered his mouth and chin. He growled at MC.
Oh, come on.
The ninja said.
We all know you put on the whole brains thing.
He whipped out his nunchucks and swung them around in a real fancy way.
Incredible writing.
He was so fancy with his nunchucks.
Real fancy, you could say. He looked really impressive and cool.
I like to
and all the girls fancied him.
You know, like when you see people with nunchucks, they do all those like nunchuck tricks and stuff like that. I think in my head I was thinking of that, like, yeah, that's fucking cool.
How
That's
can
really
I describe
fancy.
this?
Yeah.
I think it was Bruce Lee who first described his nunchuck skills as real fancy.
The zombie wasn't impressed and swiped them aside, then backhanded MC.
Man, MC's doing a bit shit.
Yeah, well, it's his first fight back with his one hand,
true,
isn't it? You know,
true.
he's rusty. With MC down, the zombie pressed his attack, scratching at the floored ninja. MC covered up using arms, awaiting his opportunity to strike.
His arms, or just like a pair of arms that he had around?
That's what the garages are full of, arms.
I just think he's just got he's holding an arm with his arm and sort of shielding himself with it.
Is he using the arms in a fancy way?
Is he using arms tied together as nunchucks?
MC covered up using arms, awaiting his opportunity to strike. It came when the zombie stopped clawing to see if MC was dead. MC kicked out, sending the zombie flying to the outside. MC quickly looked around for some kind of weapon, probably decided not to use the arms anymore. Lying on a tool table was a chainsaw with a hole in the motor. I'm sure that will work perfectly fine then.
Convenient, really.
Definitely not an Evil Dead reference or nothing.
No.
It still worked, as MC fired it up, and conveniently it fit snug on his stump. Snug on his stump, I like that. Again, the zombie lunged forward. This time, however, MC was ready. He flipped over the moaning creature and sliced him in half. Both parts of the zombie stopped moving. It was done. Very short battle there.
It was. Do you think he used the chainsaw in a real fancy way? I guess he hasn't had the training with it, so maybe only a bit fancy.
Maybe he could attack nunchucks to the blade of the chainsaw as well as arms. So you get like slapped and hit with nunchucks and then chopped up. Special weapon.
That would be super fancy.
As MC walked back into the mansion, he found his crew just the way he left them. Sort of. Louise was fast asleep, not owl sleep, or rather passed out in her wheelchair, and Jay was still watching the large telly. He only noticed MC had entered the room when he walked in front of the naked women that were scattered across the screen. Now, is this a Slipknot video or is he watching porn? I feel like it could be either.
And is it that they're actually on the screen? Like, is it something he's watching, or are they just naked women that are scattered on the TV itself?
All missing their arms, funnily enough. MC proceeded to tell the story of how he killed the stalking zombie and how the chainsaw had come in handy.
Hey.
Jay noticed this was the first time since it had been cut off that MC acknowledged his arm.
Oh,
I mean, his arm hadn't been cut off. It's
No.
his hand, but
yeah.
bit of progress there.
Yeah, well done, MC. Everyone knows that puns are the first sign of healing. Overall, a good job done.
He said. MC agreed and meant it. Good. Thanks,
yeah.
MC. Cheers for that. Back in the mansion, I'm assuming we're back in the mansion, not the other mansion. Not the Peacocks mansion, the non-Peacock mansion.
The abandoned, non-abandoned mansion.
Yeah, where everything's in the hallway.
Yeah.
Back in the mansion, and Louise was rubbing her head. The hangover had come on quite sudden, as soon as she woke up, in fact. Jay seemed to have forgot about the lovely Sarah Lee. Thank God, she must be so happy. And instead was talking a lot about TV now.
Do you think he's going to start hitting on the TV instead?
Sexually assaulting the TV. Go on, show me your HDMI, go on. MC joined his friends in the hallway and announced some good news.
It looks like our very rich friend.
He looked at Jay.
Oh, sorry, man. Anyway, we're going to get a big fat check through the post any day soon.
Does that mean we can get the window fixed in the front room now? Asked the weary Louise.
Good weary, yes.
Thanks. I put a lot of weary into that.
Yes.
Mostly how I feel about how I've written this all those years ago. MC nodded.
All in all, a very rewarding day.
There were smiles all round, even Louise, although it was a bit half-hearted.
And right now, I'm going to ring the lovely Detective Lockhart to thank her for the business.
Said MC. Why? You want to give her some business in return? Louise said. Wait. MC laughed and walked over to the phone. There was a knock at the door.
Bollocks.
He thought.
Not again.
He marched down to the front door, praying it was someone he could punch for interrupting his loving time. He opened the door, revealing a man he recognised. Chip. Wow. Whoa. He's back. What a cliffhanger ending to episode 1. Wow, a lot happened in that one episode.
It did.
We had a very downer opening.
It was
So we met the gang again and everyone was quite depressed and down and various things had happened.
quite sexist.
And then we got into the sexist territory
Yeah.
and the creepiness and then that was the middle part.
And then it was dead peacocks.
Yep, and a zombie.
Yeah.
And then I think the big moment of the episode.
Yeah.
Chip is back.
Yes.
He's come back. Where has he been? That place that Shinno Khan can't find him. Where is his magical place? Overall, though, I thought that was a boring episode. I thought it was like, oh, there's some sort of mystery stalker. Is he stalking some rich woman? Why is he stalking her? Why are they eating peacocks? Why can they disappear? It was a zombie.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's going to come back, I suspect.
I don't think it will.
Fair enough.
I really thought maybe, this Sarah Lee character will go on to be like an important part, she'll become the new benefactor or something.
I thought she might even be a villain, like, because she's a little bit of a bitch, I thought maybe some shit going on.
No, she just fucked off and we never saw her again. But she did send us a check.
That's the important thing.
Yeah, but I think this episode, I guess, forget about the plot.
Yeah, it was...
You could say that about most episodes, to be fair. But it's very much, it's called Return, and it is. Yeah, we're back with the gang.
Yeah.
We're touching in with everything that's kind of happened to them in the past few months and where they are.
They're starting to get their mojo back a little bit.
Yeah, it was more of a happy ending, isn't it? They seem to cheer up. They could get their window fixed.
Yeah.
MC was happy and going to get some love in.
Which apparently involves just phoning up a woman. That counts.
I mean, he's not going to get a firm handshake that way.
Oh, true.
And Jay now wants to molest the TV. So, all in all, pretty happy ending. And then we had the cliffhanger, the big moment. Is Chip's return?
I look forward to finding out what happens.
Me too. I'm looking forward to finding out what has happened to Chip, how fucked up he's been. Like, is he going to be sexist, a predator? Like, what's going to happen? What trait is Chip going to get that's going to make him terrible?
I'm actually quite nervous at the prospect of finding out now.
Oh, me and you both.